Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
New at 5, he hid inside while his ex-girlfriend's body was in his car.
I was just sitting on the porch right there. Came out and heard two big loud pops.
A tense barricaded situation unfolds in Westland. R. Kelly may never be outside prison walls again as he gets a long sentence for sex trafficking.
Another lawsuit filed against Oxford Community School District, but this time something else. Parents of a victim filing a lawsuit against this gun store. Why? Coming up.
And it's a murder streamed online for all to see. An argument on Facebook Live goes from heated to deadly.
And we begin in Ypsilanti, where that deadly shooting captured on Facebook Live has left the community stunned. The victim had become somewhat of a local celebrity because of those live feeds.
Yesterday, that all came to an abrupt and tragic end. Sean Lay live with this story tonight with more on what escalated all of this. Sean.
Let's talk about that escalation, Devin. Terrell Smith was on his Facebook Live talking to the camera. He was in a heated exchange with someone who was making comments as he was going live. Minutes later, someone drove right up to his house in Ypsilanti. More than 30 shots were fired. Facebook flooded with sadness, heartache, and tributes today for this man, Terrell Smith of Ypsilanti, a local Facebook celebrity. Smith was also known for his brutally honest Facebook Live appearances called Rell's Corner. Tuesday, Smith took to Facebook Live for another edition, at first expressing his loyalty to Ypsilanti.
What make y'all think, because y'all moved, that y'all better than Ypsi? Y'all ain't better than Ypsi, y'all product of Ypsi.
Then Smith exchanging words with someone who was commenting on his Facebook Live and making threats.
Now you on Facebook, I'm riding around with 60 shots. I don't ride around with 100 shots, bro.
Thousands were watching and were horrified by what happened next. Smith sees a car approach and sees someone get out.
Okay, we got action. We got action.
Smith was shot and killed. The shooting is not seen on camera, but we will warn you, just the sound of the gun violence is disturbing enough. We will only play a moment of the 30 rapid-fire shots. A neighbor can be heard frantically calling 911.
Somebody been shot.
The horrifying video seen 37,000 times before Facebook was alerted and took it down. And tonight, Facebook says when awful things like this occur on a Facebook Live, they do try to take it off Facebook as quickly as possible. Again, that video is no longer seen on Facebook. The person firing those shots still out there tonight. Kimberly, Devin.
Boy. So where does this investigation stand now, Sean?
Like I say, suspect not in custody as of yet. The Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office is investigating, and they are working with that video to try to make the connection of who shot Mr. Smith.
Yeah, we will stay on it. All right, Sean.
Well, it is sentencing day for R. Kelly. The R&B singer was sentenced today to 30 years in prison. It follows his conviction last year on federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges, stemming from his efforts over years to use his fame to ensnare victims he sexually abused. Kelly is expected to be taken to Chicago, where he faces a federal trial for child pornography and obstruction charges.
Our other top story at this hour: after a tense night, Westland police arrested a man who barricaded himself in a home after a deadly shooting.
It happened at the Old Orchard Mobile Home Park, right near the intersection of Glenwood and Wayne Roads. Our Victor Williams was there today, and neighbors were left in shock over what happened.
Well, neighbors say they would hear this couple arguing from time to time, but had no idea that something like this would take place right in this very trailer.
The boyfriend shot her. She was just laying in the car. They were here all night.
A barricaded gunman situation comes to a peaceful end after 41-year-old Tabitha Cornwall was allegedly killed by her ex-boyfriend as she tried to escape on Glenwood Road. Bill Neville is the manager at the Old Orchard Mobile Home Park where the standoff took place.
A knock on my door was the police. Stated that there was a shooting. They walked me out of my apartment. Took me into the road, seen a white SUV parked in the road. They said, "Do you know who that is?" And I said, "Well, she lives in that trailer there."
The news was almost too much for Tabitha's mother, Diane, to bear.
My daughter, my baby girl, was shot over we don't know what. She would give anybody
the shirt off her back. She would do anything she could for anybody.
Joshua Clark saw the man running back inside after allegedly firing the fatal shots that killed Tabitha.
I was just sitting on the porch right there. Came out and heard two big loud pops. Seen the guy running across the street, running down the alley here.
He says what happened was a big surprise to everyone in the neighborhood, including his wife Gabrielle, who's the accused shooter's co-worker.
It's really crazy because you think you know somebody. My husband woke up in the morning and woke me up and said that we had snipers outside of all of our bedroom windows, and it was just, a lot of chaos. I think I got 2 hours of sleep, but I feel really bad for the family, so prayers to the families.
And I'm told that Tabitha leaves behind 2 daughters in their mid-20s, so this is just horrible for them as well. As far as the shooter, once again, he was taken into custody without incident. We'll keep you updated on his potential charges. Victor Williams, Local 4.
Horrible indeed. Okay, Victor, thank you. Well, there's a new lawsuit filed in the Oxford school shooting, and this one is different, all because of who's involved in it.
Yeah, the parents of a student who was shot suing the district and the gun shop that sold the gun. Grant Herm's live tonight, and you went to the gun shop today, Grant.
Devin, Kimberly, we did go to the gun shop today. You'll see what they had to say to us here in just a minute. Now, by our count, this is the 7th lawsuit filed against the district, but the first one filed against the gun shop. They're making several allegations here, these parents of one of the victims, but at issue here really is, did the gun shop know that James Crumbley was buying that gun to give to his son, who is not legally allowed to have it? Inside the newest lawsuit, Matthew and Mary Mueller, whose son was shot in the hand and face while trying to shield himself from gunfire, suing the Oxford Community School District, alleging the district ignored clear signals of impending gun violence from the accused shooter. Their arguments similar to other suits already in court, but this lawsuit also names the gun shop where James Crumbley purchased the gun the shooter is accused of using to take 4 lives and injure more than a dozen others. The Muellers, along with the Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence, are accusing Acme Shooting Goods of engaging in a straw purchase, when someone buys a gun with the intent to give it to someone who legally cannot have one. The lawsuit stating explicitly Acme negligently and/or unlawfully supplied the minor shooter, despite actual and/or constructive knowledge that the father was engaging in an illicit straw purchase. In a statement today, the parents saying, while we live with the horror of that day forever, he will live with the physical pain and trauma of being shot for the rest of his life. That pain was avoidable. We tried talking to the owner of Acme today, but we were immediately told to leave. How you doing?
Good, no comment until you leave.
No comment?
Nope.
Nothing about the lawsuit? Okay, we'll leave. Thank you.
Quit filming me.
We did reach out to the district for a comment, but we were unable to get one back. Now, the Muellers are making allegations of negligence, negligent entrustment, and public nuisance against the Acme Gun Supply store there. They are, Devin and Kimberly, asking for a jury trial in this case. Back to you.
Yeah. All right, Grant.
Justice Stephen Breyer will officially retire from the U.S. Supreme Court tomorrow. In a letter to President Biden today, Breyer wrote he will officially retire at noon tomorrow. The 83-year-old justice, appointed in 1994, announced his retirement back in January. Breyer, one of 3 liberal justices on the court, is set to be replaced by Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. She was confirmed as the next Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court by the Senate in April. Jackson will be sworn in soon after Breyer officially steps down.
Now to the fallout from the bombshell testimony in the January 6th hearing of yesterday, as we took a look at live pictures now from the U.S. Capitol. Some former Trump staffers are backing up Cassidy Hutchinson's claims. Meantime, others dispute the story of the president lunging at his Secret Service agent. Bree Jackson with more from Washington. Bree.
January 6 committee members hope hearing that stunning testimony from a former White House aide encourages others to testify. But we are also hearing denials and pushback against some of that witness's statements.
I remember.
After an explosive day of testimony from Cassidy Hutchinson, a former White House aide who laid out chaotic scenes of an angry and violent President Trump on January 6, there's a strong reaction from lawmakers who were inside the Capitol that day.
Yesterday's testimony was another gut punch to every single one of us who was on that balcony face down.
Hutchinson's one-time boss, Republican Whip Steve Scalise, downplayed the hearing as a partisan witch hunt.
One more day of salacious headlines, and already today we're seeing Secret Service agents saying it didn't happen. What was testified to in committee yesterday didn't even happen.
The Secret Service is disputing Hutchinson's testimony that former President Trump became physical with an agent and tried to grab the wheel of the presidential SUV after his January 6th speech. The agent and driver offering to testify under oath if needed.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president. Take me up to the Capitol now."
But even some former Trump loyalists found her testimony damaging to his credibility.
When she testified that he knew that there were guns on property and that he still encouraged people to go down to the Capitol, that certainly changes my mind.
The January 6th panel is now urging others to testify. Republican Liz Cheney going on Twitter to single out former Trump White House counsel Pat Cipollone. Committee members also issuing this warning.
The committee will not tolerate any form of witness tampering or obstruction of justice.
And will continue to investigate the former president and his supporters' efforts to block the peaceful transfer of power. Today, a spokesperson for Mark Meadows is pushing back against Hutchinson's testimony that he was seeking a presidential pardon, saying Meadows never sought a pardon and never planned to. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for Local 4 News.
All right, Bree, it'll take a little break here now, and then the hearings are expected to resume the week of July 11th.